Hello. I'm coming to you today just for a quick chat. Ever since I did the video on mothers and daughters, I've been kind of waxing nostalgic, thinking about so many things from the past, and I thought I'd share a little bit of it with you today. So stick around if you're interested, and I'll see you on the other side. My years at Sotheby's, the auction house, were very exciting times. It was a time when, the art market was a little bit in flux. There was some record-setting prices that they got for fine art. There were exciting goings-on those days, both in and out of Sotheby's. We were at the time on 75th and Madison Avenue, which was one short block. Well, that's not true. It was actually one long block to Central Park. And I used to occasionally at lunchtime take a walk from the office over to Central Park to just spend a little time outdoors and enjoy it. It's, for those who don't know, Central Park is this absolutely monstrous park that is in the middle of the upper east to west side, and it starts around 60th Street, 59th Street, 60th, and it goes all the way uptown. We were in the 70s, and it was just a lovely, lovely place to go. You would see people from all over all the time. There were a lot of tourists always, because Manhattan was always a tourist attraction and all of the things that Manhattan had to offer. My mother loved Central Park. She used to take my son there very often. As my son said when he was eulogizing her, he said his grandma taught him to climb rocks, and she did. So Central Park had a lot of pleasant memories for us. There were celebrities around all the time. There was a small eatery just down the block from the office, and I don't remember now if it was called Two Guys or Three Guys or something like that, but I used to go there very often for lunch or in the morning to have a quick cup of coffee and a muffin before I started work. And there were many times these people hanging out there talking to each other. I remember running into Roy Scheider and Martin Sheen, and there was Peter Falk having a conversation with Mia Farrow right in front of the office. And interestingly, Peter Falk, true to form, was wearing a wrinkled trench coat. And I said, wow, that was not just garb for the show. It was part of who he was, I gather. But there was a lot of animation there. There was a lot of excitement, and I was always somehow brought into it and made to feel very welcome by all of them. I remember seeing the Carlisle Hotel was directly across the street from our office, and the Carlisle was host to many, many celebrities, dignitaries, moneyed people from all over the world. And I remember one day when this absolutely stunning creature of a man got out of a car in front of the Carlisle and stood up and flashed this $1 million smile, and it was Sidney Poitier in his prime, and he was an absolutely gorgeous man. I remember the time that Teddy Kennedy was getting something out of the trunk of the car in front of the Carlisle, and he too flashed that famous Kennedy smile. So there were so many times and so many incidences that were really fun. I told you about the time with Gina Lollobrigida, who was in that magnificent lynx coat in the days when that was okay. And she was stunningly beautiful. I ran into Johnny Carson there, and there had been a story about Johnny Carson that he had a balding spot, I guess, I don't know, maybe this big, well, I don't know, something right back here. And I had heard, and found it to be quite true, that he seemed to like to walk close to the wall with his head sort of at the wall, so people were not directly behind him seeing that. So, you know, he had to have had some issues, which brings up an interesting kind of thought that no matter how successful people are in life and no matter what they have in terms of worldly goods, they still bring to the party those things which have become part of them based upon a lifetime of experience. He had that wonderful smile, he had that baby face, and there he was with his back against the wall, walking sort of on an angle so that nobody was directly behind him. I remember the day that I watched, there was a huge auction that they had, and they had 3 different places where they had to accommodate people because there was a huge attendance, and they also had it on closed, you know, they had it on monitors so it was visible from other places. At the time it was the Meyer collection, and it had the most unbelievable works of art in it. I got to witness and almost touch, except that you didn't touch them, but I was close enough to touch Rembrandts, Renoirs, all of the Impressionist painters. They had the most incredible works of art that were hundreds of years old. And how lucky was I to be in a place where I saw them up close and personal. When you think of the time and the people who painted those things, it was really incredible. I was there for the auction in which they got a record price at the time. Of course, now it's nothing compared to what some of these things are fetching, but back then it was Van Gogh, and it was the sunflowers. And I believe it got $2.2 million, somewhere around that. And it was in the news media everywhere because it broke records back then. There was something just very special, very dynamic about working in that place. They had an auction one day, a stamp auction, and they were auctioning off the Ishikawa collection. And I remember there was one stamp that went, I want to say it went for $30,000. Don't hold me to the price exactly. It was in that realm. And the person who bought it showed up at the cashier with an attaché filled with cash. Typically, people didn't pay cash for the things that they bought at Sotheby's, but occasionally they did. And that was always a little bit of a stunning kind of thing to be party to. So I'm very grateful for the days that I had there. I thoroughly enjoyed them. I was part of, I guess, the history of the time. I remember at one point, I think it was during the Meyer collection, but I'm not sure, during that auction, that John Marion, who was at the time the head auctioneer, and he was CEO of Sotheby's back then, and he was auctioning off this painting, and the price had gone up as high as 1,000,001. And at that point, they were going up $100,000 at a time. And the next bid that came in, and it came in from one of the other rooms, it came in at $1,050,000. And there was a hesitation. And as if on cue, John Marion said, "This must be the new math." It was going backwards. So obviously the person who came in with $1,050,000 had not been paying attention at the last moment to know that it had actually gone above that number. So again, just some interesting stories from what I guess has been an interesting life, as I'm sure we all have on some level or another. So I just wanted to share with you because you're my YouTube family and we share. Take care. I hope your day is great. It's dismal here. It's probably going to pour tonight. I'm grateful if it does pour. Anything but snow is good in my world. So take care. Enjoy your day. And I will see you very soon. Back to our makeup and skincare and all that kind of stuff soon as well. So I hope you're enjoying this. If there's anything special that you want to see, if there is any video that you would like me to make, anything that you would specifically like me to talk about, tell me. I won't know unless you tell me. And if you're not already subscribed, subscribe below. Hit the bell so you get notifications of all the new videos coming up. And take care. I'll see you really soon.